Hello, everybody. This is Casey Cadaver here with the Roxy Horror Casey Show, bringing you number 21 of the 31 on 31 horror movie nights Halloween extravaganza. Um, if you hold Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island very close to your heart, very close to your person and childhood, maybe turn this off. Because Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island is number 21, and I'm going to review it right now. You've been warned, as it is one of my favorites too, and I've loved this movie for so long, and I've championed this movie for so long. So this watch was very interesting. Um, First of all, the opening I think is one of the best openings of an anime movie. The song, the revisiting, the coming back to the gang, and they're running around the solver mysteries, and the whole song's like summarizing their entire career as the mystery machine, mystery group, going around, and it's fake. The music is one of the best parts about this movie. And it really felt like a big movie because the animation's better. Um, the music's awesome, and then you kind of see it's a fast forward uh into the lives of the gang, and they've all kind of split off just because they grew up and they had different things to do and they had to make a living. um so Daphne is has her own talk show. Fred um produces it, and Velma works at a bookshop, and Shaggy and Scooby, very tongue-in-cheek, work at an airport, uh working security, collecting and confiscating contraband, um, which they eat all of the contraband, that's cheese and bread, that try to get through airport security. I thought that was pretty funny, and a nice little nod to the old ways. Um, but man, then they get back together for Daphne's birthday, and they try to go find. Daphne wants to find like a real story, a real mystery, a real ghost. And Fred gets the gang back together. They go to Louisiana and try to find a real story. And by doing that, they run into another character, um, and she takes them back to their plantation, their pot pepper plantation. Uh, and that's where the story begins. So, the interesting thing about this movie is all like the subtleties of it all. Shaggy and Scooby doing the contraband and eating it all. Um, and they're coming together, the group, after they've broke apart, and now they come back together for just another fun trip. uh so when you watch this movie, it's still fun. It's incredibly goofy. I kind of forgot how goofy it was. um I mean, that's Scooby-Doo. I've never been a huge Scooby-Doo fan, so I didn't expect to ever like this movie, but I loved it. Probably because the monsters are real. The monsters are real. It is real zombies in the movie. They do go into a haunted plantation, and there are zombies, which is another reason why I loved it. Um, but the weird thing about the animation being better and what they tried to do, which obviously, you get bigger budget, you have a bigger production, you want a better animation. But I watched this with my girlfriend, and we were just like, we couldn't put our finger on why it looked so weird and why it felt uncomfortable watching it. And I finally realized what it was. In their upping the animation, they gave everybody different colored eyes, but the art style doesn't really lend itself well into the colorification of eyes, if that's a word. So like when Fred's eyes are like icy blue, it kind of weird because it's just like solid dots still, right? And then Shaggy and Scooby's are really weird because Shaggy's eyes are bigger and more animated than everybody else's. So his eyes are like brown. So it's like we used to just that black of an animated cartoonish eye. That brown is just kind of like offsetting, right? It doesn't mesh. And with the thick outlines of the character design, the brown just really looks weird. So that's kind of off-putting in the movie and distracting, right? So that aside, they get to the plantation and they discover the house is made of old ship parts. There's a grumpy groundskeeper who doesn't like them there. Besides that, they're able to walk around. Of course, the other weird thing about this, and I know no one should dissect Scooby-Doo, but I'm going to, because they had a job, and then they go with the gang, and you wonder, looking at this, what what is Shaggy and Scooby's like role in the gang besides just being like friends? We had a couple theories, but with the theory was back in the day, um, when they were just running around a van, like Shaggy was like a trust fund hippie because they, you know, Fred was interested in the mystery idea. He was the skeptic. Daphne was really interested in the mystery and she wanted to investigate everything. Velma was the practical, the knowledgeable one, and it shows in this movie. She's the one who does the stories and finds a lead. Daphne's the one who does the investigative work. Well, no, Velma does the dissecting of the situation, finds the clues, and puts things together. Daphne's the one who does the investigative work and finds the source, the place to go. Does the reporting very well. You know, can write down, can chronicle the whole thing. And Fred is the skeptic, producer, witness, cameraman. This time around, and then Shaggy and Scooby are just there. And then everything happens to them. Like they're almost just there as a catalyst. Like they're the ones that bring the monsters out. They're the ones to go off into the kitchen when everybody's looking for clues. I'm like, fuck it, we're just gonna go over here. Like they're always the one going off. Like we're gonna go find a snack. We're gonna go explore the pepper fields. We're gonna do anything else besides like help out because they're scared. They don't want to be here. Like they constantly say they don't want to be there, but yet they're there. Um, so, but then everything happens to them because they're off the beaten path and seem to bring out whatever's haunting the place or whatever old man is trying to steal the real estate. So that's why our theory was the fact that Shaggy was a trust fund hippie and everybody just was funded. Like the Mystery Machine was funded by Shaggy and his dog in the beginning. And then I'm guessing once that money ran out, everybody had to disband and find their own jobs. And that's how Shaggy and Scooby ended up working security at the airport. But then Daphne still had a college degree and went off and did her thing. And Velma went and became a librarian because that was her passion project. But like, that's what it was. And they were just kind of, Shaggy and Scooby were just kind of tricked into being part of it because they just wanted a place to smoke weed and travel, but didn't want to have to actually put any brain power into anything. Um, so this whole movie really seems to reflect and solidify that theory because they offer nothing except just being there as comic relief, um, which is essential for a story, but not essential for this group. Um, so the movie progresses, and the zombies start coming out, and here's where the childhood gets a little shattered in 2025. Oh, they talk about like Moonscar, the pirate who came to the village and basically colonized, like full on Columbus, this whole little island in Louisiana. So they don't paint him as a good guy. He's definitely like a Blackbeard replica. Captain Moonscar coming in and taking out all the nice Puritans who were living there. But it turns out that I think it was Lena and Simone are the two ladies on the estate, and they're the evil cat women who are essentially transformed by voodoo. Um, and so they take out men and anybody else who comes to the island and sucks them dry of their youth. And that's how they were able to get back at Moonscar and his men for justice of killing their whole village. Um, but then if you have any knowledge of history, these Puritans, these pilgrims who came and started occupying the space, they weren't so nice themselves. So then Moonscar comes in and basically does to them what they did to the natives. And you're like, well, cyclical history, and what goes around comes around. But then what they did to Moonscar's men, turned them into zombies. They all seem to be coming back up to warn the gang to leave so it doesn't happen to them, hoping to also break the curse if these two women die. Seems to break the curse. So they want to rob them of, I guess, of nutrients and sustenance to suck them, um, to suck the gang dry and keep their youth. But then you start seeing like different people. All the zombies come up in different periods, different time periods of clothes. So you see like tourist clothes, the Hawaiian shirt, the straw hat, and then you see a lot of like Confederate soldiers, like soldiers pop up in like the Confederate gray garb. I mean, it is the South, it's Louisiana, and they pop up. So it is historically accurate to be in the South, but the Confederates pop up, and the whole movie turns, and they find out like the whole ruse of the cat ladies and Jacques, who is the groundskeeper, or not the groundskeeper, he's the ferryman, and helps them out, basically helps bring it to the island and does some work around the estate. They also turned him into a cat person, so he was probably just a super simp for some cat ladies, and then they turned him to be their familiar kind of person. Um, so they do that, and you see the Confederates come up, and Velma's like, the zombies are the good guys. All the Confederate soldiers walking around, like, oof, oof, not quite. Uh, and it turns out the groundkeeper was the FBI agent, and he was investigating all the disappearances on the island, but wasn't quite able to achieve anything. Goddamn ladybug, Japanese beetle thing. I don't know why they love my house so much. I hope that's gonna be distracting as shit. So it's weird that he couldn't get down to anything, but yeah, what I'm saying is gonna ruin your childhood is like there's the Pilgrims Puritans who came and took over the native land, and then Moonscar comes in and does some nasty, nasty things to them as pirates, and then they seek their revenge on Moonscar, accepting a curse and then having to sustain that curse by sucking dry tourists and soldiers. But then on top of that, you have like the Confederate soldiers definitely portrayed as the good guys in this movie. And there's a couple weird instances where like it almost feels like propaganda. And I know no one wants to look into a kids movie that much into propaganda and politics and adding too much depth into just a funny Scooby-Doo movie. But if you want to know, just watch it again. It's worth a watch again. The music's always fantastic. Terror Time is an awesome song. It's also, the animation's so good. It's kind of frightening to watch like the zombies like shake around, and they're kind of frightening looking. Like it was surprisingly scary watching them. And then like Fred rips the head off a zombie, and you hear like the old skin stretch and bounce. Like animators were just kind of flexing on this. Well, they didn't need to, but it was kind of creepy and well detailed. But yeah, it's worth a rewatch, but not as bad. but kind of gives me the same feeling of like, don't watch Space Jam again. Just let it live in your heart as a fun kid movie. It's hard to watch it in the same light with the same innocence. And like this movie, it's great. Do the collection stuff. I'd love to have some kind of replica, some kind of thing from this movie. I don't know how. Um, I would even love like a Moonscar pirate, which I think would be cool. Um, I don't know, some kind of little piece from this movie because I did love it. I do love it, but it's a tough rewatch. It's a tough rewatch. Um, Probably won't try to see it again unless I'm showing it to somebody. And yeah, so that's my review. Kind of disjointed, but it's an interesting little movie to revisit too. Which I'm glad I did. It's just it shattered a little my adult bitterness towards the world. Did shatter some of the beauty of this movie. Do I regret watching it? No. Does it hurt a little bit? Yeah. But that's fun. That's why we're watching these movies. It's whatever. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Chat with us sometime. Like, subscribe, so we can do more of this. It's just kind of a passion project for us right now, and it's fun conversations. We'd love to chat with you guys about horror. This is definitely more of a conversational style of review. I'm no professional. I'm not great. I'm terrible at research, obviously, but we just like to chat and talk about spooky stuff. All right. Thank you guys so much. Catch you later.